Hey friends, today's class is a slow-paced flow for beginners, made especially for those of us who have tight hamstrings and are looking for a way to find some release in the backs of the thighs. You don't need any props for this video, but if you have some experience and you already know you want to use blocks in a pose like half splits or forward folds, or if you want to lay a folded blanket over your mat to cushion your knees, go ahead and pause the video so you can grab those things and have them ready. Alright, so let's get started in a strong standing pose. You might think, oh, well, I'm standing. What does it mean to be in a strong standing pose? It just means that we want the muscles of the body to be active and supportive of the posture. So for example, bring your hands to your belly. And let's draw the belly button in towards the spine, activating the abdominals. As you draw the belly in, check to make sure you're not flaring the rib cage out and draw it back in like a corset over the abdominals. Then draw your attention down to the lower body. You want to find a neutral position for your pelvis so that you're not letting the tailbone either fly out or tuck in too much. It can help to do this sort of thing in front of a mirror until you're able to do it by feel. Last, activate the muscles of the legs, noticing the way it pulls the kneecaps up as the legs strengthen. Take a quick look down at your feet and try to align your feet directly beneath your hips, with the toes pointing straight forward, feet parallel like you're standing on railroad tracks. Move your hands to your hips and find the place where your hips meet the tops of your thighs. This is your hinge. This is the place you want to move from as you go in and out of forward bends and halfway lifts. If you're having trouble finding your hinge, try bending the knees a little bit and keeping a long straight spine, fold the upper body just a little bit until you're able to find that hip crease. Standing up straight and taking a deep breath in through the nose, keep your hands on your hips. And as you exhale through the nose, slowly start to move into a standing forward fold. Bend your knees. Keep a nice straight spine as you move, no rounding in the back. And try to find this action of drawing your belly close to your thighs, no matter how deeply you have to bend your knees. You can release your hands down, maybe clasping opposite elbows, and if you like, you can find a little movement swaying side to side. Keep breathing through the nose. Depending on how tight your hamstrings are, your forward fold is going to look really different from mine or from your neighbors or whoever you're tempted to compare yourself to. For some of us, a good forward fold actually looks a lot like a halfway lift position, which we'll go through in a moment. The important thing is not how far down you can get your hands or your head. Rather, what we want to focus on is lengthening the space between the sits bones at the back tops of the thighs and the back of the knees, which is where our hamstrings are. If the back is rounded, don't do it, just watch me demonstrate here. The pelvis is tipping backwards, bringing the sits bones closer in distance to the backs of the knees, which shortens the hamstrings. And that's the opposite of what we're trying to do here as we lengthen in the backs of the legs to stretch the hamstrings. Okay, so we've been here for several moments and your hammies might be starting to scream. So we'll take a deep breath in through the nose as we move into a halfway lift. From your fold, keep a nice straight back as you lift up into an upside down L shape, planting the hands on the thighs with elbows close to the sides, halfway lift. This is a great pose to practice in front of a mirror. Again, making sure you're not rounding the spine, but rather working with a flat back. If you're having trouble finding a flat back, keep the knees bent as deep as you need to, giving you more access to your hamstrings. Take a look down at your feet, making sure your feet are parallel like they're on railroad tracks, and that your knees aren't knocking in together towards each other, but rather keep the knees stacked in line with your hips and ankles. On your next exhale, allow yourself to fold briefly again. Bring your hands to your hip hinge, and then big inhale through the nose. We move from our hip hinge, nice flat back, knees bent and legs strong all the way up to a standing position. Release your hands down by your sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. Good work. Let's move a little more here with the breath. 1 breath per movement, but moving slowly. Plant your hands on your hip crease, finding your hinge point. Draw belly in towards the spine and activate the legs. Then take a deep breath in through the nose. And on your exhale, bending the knees and keeping spine long, move into your version of a forward fold. Release your hands. And as you inhale through the nose, keeping the knees bent, halfway lift, flat back, palms to thighs. Big exhale through the nose as you fold again. This time, let's widen our stance a little bit, moving feet out toward the edges of the mat, and clasp opposite elbows. Keep your knees bent to help you draw belly down closer to thighs, and you can find a little movement swaying side to side if it feels good. Don't hold your breath. Keep breathing in and out the nose, allowing the body to relax into the fold with each breath out. Just a few more moments here, continuing to breathe deeply in and out the nose. And then we'll move the feet back in line underneath the hips, releasing the hands, toes pointing forward and feet parallel. On your next deep breath in, keeping your knees bent, find your halfway lift, coming up to a flat back and planting palms to thighs. Exhale with knees bent, forward fold. Bring hands to hip crease, and on your next big breath in through the nose, keep your knees bent, spine long as you come all the way up to standing. Big breath out the nose, hands come to sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. Big breath in, reach the hands up to the sky, and as you exhale, move carefully with intention back into your forward fold. Inhale to half lift, and this time as you lower your upper body and breathe out through the nose, bring your hands down to the mat and step both feet back, coming down onto all fours, tabletop. Stack your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees, and find that strong action of drawing belly up and in towards your spine. We're going to step the right foot forward, and if your foot doesn't quite make it all the way, reach down and take your heel in your hand, giving yourself a little assist. Pause here for a breath or two, just settling in. And then we're going to move into a pose called half splits. The action you want to find is drawing your hips back and straightening your front leg, but your leg does not have to straighten all the way. A bent knee is perfectly fine. Again, the idea is to find a little bit of length in the back of the leg. And for some of this, that means we don't need to go super deep into the pose to feel something here. Keep breathing in and out the nose, and try to square the hips, meaning hips are directly beside each other, and one hip isn't pulling out in front of the other. So here in half splits, you might need to draw your right hip back a little bit, pulling it back, bringing it back in line with your left hip. If you need more, you're always welcome to move deeper, straightening the leg, flexing the foot, and maybe even folding over your extended leg. But don't force yourself into a pose trying to look a certain way if your body is screaming at you to stop. On your next breath in through the nose, shift forward, coming out of half splits, and step your foot back to your tabletop position. Let's do that on the other side. Step your left foot up to the top of the mat, giving yourself an assist with your hand if you need it, and pause, breathing in and out the nose, a nice calming breath that fills the body. Then slowly start to shift the hips back as you move into your version of half splits, remembering that it's always an option to keep the knee bent. Keep breathing and square the hips, tugging back a little bit on the left hip until it comes back in line with the other one. We'll stay here for a few breaths, breathing in and out the nose to keep the body warm and to calm the mind, easing into a sense of stability and strength. Then shift forward out of the pose and step your foot back to come into tabletop. From tabletop, tuck your toes and walk your hands forward a little bit, spreading the fingers wide. Now root down firmly through the whole hand, pressing through the palms and the fingers, especially the thumbs and index fingers, which should form fishhook shapes with index fingers pointing up towards the top of the mat. Notice what we call the eyes of the elbows, which is the crease on the inside of the elbows. If the creases of the elbows are facing downwards towards the mat, rotate the arms till the creases or eyes of the elbows turn to face each other. Arms are really active and strong here. We're going to slowly lift the knees to come up into downward facing dog. If your hamstrings are tight, it's a good idea to keep knees bent in your down dog. Try not to think too much about touching heels to mat. That's just a distraction from the important work in the body we're trying to do. Regardless, let's all take a deep bend in the knees. Holding there, untuck the pelvis, trying to free up the tailbone so that the backs of the legs lengthen. From here, let's first straighten only one leg, just enough to feel a stretch in the back of the leg as the muscles lengthen. Keep breathing. Steady breaths in and out the nose. And switch sides. Good work. Now bend both knees and come up onto the tiptoes, breathing here for a moment or two. And then we'll tiptoe with little steps all the way up to the top of the mat, where we'll take a deep breath in and meet in a halfway lift, flat back position, knees bent, tailbone untucked. On your exhale, find your version of a forward fold, keeping knees bent as you work to move belly to thighs. Deep breath in through the nose as you sweep the arms up to standing position, and relax the arms down by the sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's turn to face the long sides of our mats and take a nice wide stance, bringing hands to hips. Same things apply here to our standing posture. Draw belly into the spine with the ribs drawn down so that the abdominals are active. Keep the pelvis in a neutral position, which here might mean you feel the glutes activate a little as you make adjustments. And you might feel the kneecaps drawing upwards as you activate the strength of your legs. We're going to hinge from the hips as we fold, eventually bringing hands down to earth and trying to find a halfway lift position with a nice flat back and long spine. Curl the tailbone up as you lengthen in the backs of the legs, and we'll hold here for just a few breaths, breathing in and out the nose. A nice, warming, stabilizing breath. You can close your eyes for a moment if you want to, and focus on the sound of your breath rolling in and out. Relax the muscles in the neck. Then if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them. Let's flow through a twist. Bring your right hand down to the center of your mat. Your left hand can come up to your hip. Take a big breath in and keeping your knees bent as deep as you need to keep a nice long spine. As you exhale, twist to your left side. Inhale and exhale. Then inhale to come back to center, and exhale as you switch sides. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, coming back to center, and we'll do that one more time. Exhale to twist to the left. Hold for a breath as you inhale and exhale. And inhale, switch sides. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, come back to center. Now we're going to flow back and forth, moving with the breath. Try to keep a nice long spine as you move to prevent the spine from rounding. Walk the hands over to the left, bending the left knee. Breathe here. As you inhale, next time, walk your hands back through center. And exhale, move over to the other side, bending the right knee. Keep breathing. Breathe in as you come back through center, and breathe out as you move back to your left side, bending the left knee. On your breath in, come through center, and exhale last time over to the right side, and keep breathing. On your next inhale, walk your hands back to center, and this time we're going to hold these side lunges a bit longer. So keep your spine long as you walk your hands over to the left, bending in the left knee, and keep breathing at your own pace as you hold here. Then on your next inhale, walk your hands back through center and switch sides, moving over to the right, keeping your spine nice and long as you breathe in and out the nose. And on your next inhale, walk your hands back to center. Let out a big exhale. And then inhale, halfway lift, knees bent, flat back position. Exhale, fold down the middle, wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana, keeping knees bent to better access the hamstrings. Keep breathing in and out the nose. Your hands can rest however feels comfortable. One option is to stack hands or forearms beneath the shoulders, resting on blocks or the mat. If you need more intensity in your fold, go ahead and start to straighten the legs, but keep in mind that action of drawing belly to thighs with a long spine. Once you feel stable in your fold, you can work on shifting weight forward and out of the heels, which will lengthen the back line of the legs and give you a deeper stretch. Bring hands to hip creases, and on your next deep breath in, halfway lift, and then exhale, refold for a breath, keeping hands at hip creases. Inhale and exhale. On your inhale, stand all the way back up, releasing your hands to your sides. And we're going to come down onto our backs now for just a couple more poses before we end. Once you're there, we'll take a twist. First, hug the knees up to your chest, lifting forehead up to touch knees if that feels good. Then let your legs fall over to your right side, arms and hands resting wherever feels comfortable. Let the breath flow easily in and out the nose, allowing the gaze to soften or the eyes to close. Feel the gentle movement of the body as you breathe. Then switch your twist, drawing legs back through center and over to the other side. Breathe. Soften the body. Relax the face. And release from your twist, drawing legs back to center and hugging them back into your chest. Keep your legs drawn up close as you transition into happy baby. Draw your knees up towards the armpits, reaching for the feet, and you can either clasp the outer blades of the feet, or you can wrap middle and index fingers around big toes. Let the head rest on the mat as the neck softens and lengthens. Then press tailbone down onto the mat to lengthen the backs of the thighs. Keep breathing in and out the nose. Nice, gentle breaths rolling in and out like ocean waves. Relax the jaw and the muscles around the mouth. Soften in the space between the eyebrows. Then we'll release the legs. And we're going to end today's class in Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle pose. So bring knees apart, feet together, forming a diamond shape with your legs. If that's really intense, you can pause the video to grab a couple of blocks or pillows to stack underneath the knees on either side so that they have some support. Hands can rest wherever feels right, maybe on the hips or the belly. Allow the eyes to softly close as you relax the muscles of the face. Let's take a cleansing breath. So find a deep inhale through the nose, filling the body with breath, and open the mouth to exhale it all out. Then just let the breath flow easily without changing it, coming to a place of rest and contentment. Job well done. This is a challenging class, and it's a good one to repeat. As you continue to practice, over time you'll start to notice the way your body is able to slowly transform. You've done important work in your body today, and wherever you are on your journey, you've taken some really good steps in the right direction. Take this moment to notice the way you feel after having spent time on your mat. Let's end with one more cleansing breath. Draw a deep breath in through the nose, open the mouth, and exhale it out. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste.